Just about an hour ago, police officers and first responders were all around the scene behind me. Basically, when he was speaking today, he was very direct and very honest. He criticized the incumbent Senator Joe Manchin for siding too much for Democrats and not looking out for coal jobs in West Virginia. Football season is among us, which means many people are going to be playing fantasy football. I spoke to two math professors at Shippensburg University who have created the winning formula to choosing the right team. When you walk through South Main Street in Chambersburg, you may come across this piano right here, which has been very popular for those in the downtown area. Morgan and Tasmin, today I visited the old First Zion Baptist Church, which is in dire need of extensive repairs. The church hasn't been used in over a decade, and now there is a movement to repair the church. And Chief Camacho says thanks to some nearby witnesses, they were able to receive help with their investigation. He says he doesn't use the dating app Tinder, but is happy to see it become more accommodating to the transgender community. Morgan and Tasmin, just over a year ago, many in the Mercersburg community lined the streets to welcome back Reese after being hospitalized due to the fire from May of 2014. Over the last year, Reese has taken steps in the right direction for her recovery. When you meet Reese Burdett, you'll find that she is your typical 10-year-old girl.
Sometimes I like to play outside on the swing set with my sister. I like to do Legos a lot on rainy days and nice cold days.
However, in May of 2014, while visiting her grandparents, she was in a bad electrical fire where she suffered severe burns and had to have an amputation below the knee of her left leg. On March 18th last year, Reese came home after being in the hospital for 662 days. Over the last year, she has made tremendous progression.
She is an active kid on a day-to-day basis, just like any other 10-year-old would be. She participates in dance. She's in the children's choir at the Mercersburg Academy.
The last 2 months, we've seen her really open up. She's more and more physically active. Her endurance is getting better. She requires less oxygen support in that sense.
For Reese, she hasn't let the accident slow her down at all. She goes to school every day and hangs with her friends. She is thankful to be at home with her family.
I'm happy to be home and I'm happy to go to school and be with my friends.
Claire says that even through it all, her daughter always has a smile on her face and has a positive outlook on life.
She never complains about anything that has happened, and she just laughs and lives life to the fullest. And I think all of us could take a page out of her book.
The Burdett family says they don't take anything for granted and are looking forward to seeing Reese progress even more. Reporting live from the studio, I'm Jonathan Hunter for WHAG News. Right back to you guys.
WHAG's Jonathan Hunter met up with Maddie Runkles to get her thoughts on the matter. Jonathan, after meeting with Maddie today, how is she responding to not being able to participate in her graduation?
Good evening, Morgan. Yesterday we caught up with the principal, Dave Hobbs, who defended his stance on not allowing Maddie to walk for graduation. Today I spoke with Maddie, who accepts that she deserved to be punished. However, she believes the school went too far.
This application extends my actions, such as protecting my body from abstaining from sexual immorality and from the use of alcohol, tobacco, and illegal drugs.
What you're hearing is Maddie Runkles reading part of her Heritage Academy student pledge. She became pregnant last year, violating the pledge, which caused her to face punishment.
I served an immediate punishment right away, which was being taken out of my leadership positions, and I was suspended for 2 days. And that's other kids that have broken the student agreement, that's what has happened to them.
But Heritage Academy went a step further, saying she would not be able to walk across the stage with her 14 other classmates for graduation, which Maddie thinks is too harsh of a consequence.
I served my 2 punishments just like all the other kids had, served the same punishment, but then to be told that I have this extra punishment added on just really hurt, and it made me feel really just let down and shamed for what I had done with getting pregnant.
The school's principal, Dave Hobbs, has said that Maddie isn't being punished for keeping the baby, but because she simply broke the rules. Maddie's family has stood by her side and stood up to the school.
But then once we, stood up and said, this isn't being handled properly, it's sending the wrong message about how to treat kids in my situation, then people really stepped away, and they were mad at us for that, for standing up to the school.
Going forward, Maddie's family is upset with the decision, but wants the situation to raise awareness to a larger issue.
This is way bigger than just a small school in Maryland. This is happening across the nation. We have this awesome opportunity to set an example. Yes, these kids made a mistake. They get punished for it, but then you need to move on. You need to love them afterwards. You need to support them through all this. It just needs to be done and over with.
Maddie plans to take online classes in the fall and wants to study business. She says she wants to one day start a nonprofit to assist teen moms and dads. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Jonathan Hunter for WHAG News. Right back to you, Morgan. Football season is among us, which means many people are going to be playing fantasy football. I spoke to two math professors at Shippensburg University who have created the winning formula to choosing the right team. Dave Kennedy and Ben Galuza are avid football fans. For years they have played fantasy football and always wondered how they could use math as a way to build a good fantasy team.
4 or 5 years ago, we started talking about fantasy football and thinking that math, there's certainly math involved with this, and math probably can help us do a better job when we pick players.
Together, after long hours of planning, they created the website DraftHog.com. The website uses an algorithm to determine which NFL player a user should choose during any fantasy football draft.
I sometimes tell people we could help your grandmother win her fantasy football draft even if she doesn't know anything about football, because DraftHog would tell her who to pick, and she would pick the best team just by following the advice of our website.
How the website works is that a user would have two screens open on their computer, one for their personal league and the other would be DraftHog. And once the draft starts, DraftHog will continue to update and tell the user who's the best remaining player in the draft.
You just have to enter in the players who get picked each time in the draft, and whenever your turn comes up, DraftHog will sort of flash at you and say, it's your turn, and here's who we recommend.
We've had mainly friends and family test it prior to this year, and I think our number is 75% of DraftHog teams have made the playoffs in their fantasy football league.
And for Dave and Ben, they say they are hoping that others will join their site before football season begins. Reporting in Shippensburg, Jonathan Hunter, WHAG News.